I'm Kippi from KippiAtHome.com. Welcome to my home, welcome to my channel. Tonight we're going to craft up some adorable little pumpkins. You can craft them up for Halloween, fall, Thanksgiving, for the whole season. They're super simple to make, so let's get crafting. All right, here we go. We have a size small and I have a size large. But I have a scrap piece of fabric that I think is going to be super fun for my Halloween. It's mainly black, white, and a wee bit of orange. So that's going to fit better. So we're going to cut it out, and these patterns, you can, I'll put the link for them below, and then you can have them. But you can make them any size you want. I want to cut it out with my paper scissors, of course, since I don't want to use my good scissors that I cut fabric with. So we go along here, and I'm just following along, and you can trace it. That might even be easier after you cut it out. I've made them out of cardboard boxes, the templates, because I teach a little class, and a bunch of people use the patterns, and they get a little messed up. So it just makes it go a lot faster for us to share. All right, so I'm gonna try to conserve my fabric. As you can see, I don't have very much of it. And I'm gonna come down here in the corner, and I'm not actually gonna pin it down, even though you could pin it down, but it doesn't have to be, you know, a perfect circle. And that would be one reason that even someone who's not an excellent seamstress, so to speak, or a cutter router, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't have to worry. And I might even end up cutting my pattern a little bit, but I'm just trying to stay in the screen or in the frame. Something simple like this. Something you can do with friends. You can have them over. I've done it with craft groups. All right, so there we are. So just move a little pattern over because you know we'll be using that a lot. And now we have a circle. Looks pretty simple, right? And it is. So we're gonna do what we're calling the sewing pumpkin. I'm gonna make my thread, I'm gonna double it over. And this is a heavyweight thread. If you have what I'd call regular sewing thread, you're gonna want to definitely double it over, and then you're gonna wanna pull it through a thing called a Thread Heaven, a Thread Magic. I'll put the link to that below so you can find that product. And that keeps it from tangling, because sometimes when you double thread over, it has a tendency to tangle. So I'm actually gonna pull the thing pull it through, and I'm gonna make it real long. And then I'm just gonna weave it all together. This is really, really, really long. This is enough to do, so I think I'll cut a little bit off, because I think it's gonna be, well, no, I think it'll go a little longer. So, and once you see how we're going, we're using this as our gathering thread. And maybe we'll just do the whole thing, because sometimes it's longer than what you think when you start going around a circle. So when I get them down here to the even area, and I've got them together, I hope you can see this, we're going to put them together. And then I'm going to twirl around like that, and I'm holding it, this hand, whoops, showing you, and then I'm messing it up. Okay, so we're twirling like that, and then now I'm going to hold it with the other hand like that, and I'm going to push it up through there, and I'll hold those thread loops on there. And now, of course, it wants to act crazy. And I've got it to the end, and it's just kind of a wadded up mess. And that's okay, because all we're doing is using it as a knot, here we go, to hold the end of it. And you don't actually have to do that, but I find that it's gonna be easier to keep me from pulling it through. And I've done the whole thing and then pulled the thing through, and it's a mess. So what we're gonna do is just do a little, you know, 1/4 inch in, could even be 1/2 inch if you feel better about it. And we're just loading our needle, going back and forth. And then once we have too much on there, we pull through, but we don't want to pull all the way through, and that's why I put the knot there at the end in case I get to chatting and I forget. That wouldn't be a good thing. And then when we go to gather it, you know, we'll pull it up on this. So we're gonna get going on this. All right. Once we reach the end, then we're gonna pull this through, all the way through, and then we're gonna tie a knot in it after we get it all pulled up and stuffed. So we wanna make sure that we pull this one so we have kind of an equal at both sides. And we want to cup it a little bit and then start adding some polyfill. So let me try to get it straightened out here a little bit, and then we're going to start putting our polyfill in. I'm going to get a whole bunch more than what I think, and I always use more than what I think anyway. So I want to hold both ends of it, and I like to take them and cross them over to tie them like we do a shoe. Just your first little crossover, but I'm not knotting anything at this point, so this will still tighten around there, but we just want to get to a spot where we're not losing all of our hard work, and we also want to keep the shape a little bit so we can fill it up. So we're just filling it with plenty of fiber fill, and this is really fun for the kids. It takes a little bit of hand coordination, even for me, for an adult. So sometimes kids do it better. I've had kids in my classes taking it. They were elementary school and they did just fine. So I'm holding it up, a little pressure both sides, just trying to hold it just to put a wee bit more. Because just when I think I have enough, I like to put a little bit more. I like a little bit, fat little pumpkins. A skinny pumpkin doesn't look healthy. So we're gonna fill it up as all this fiber fill that we can possibly squeeze in there. Right, that looks pretty decent. I'm happy with that. And now we've got to do the one-handed business here. And we're going to tie it up like that, and we're just going to pull those things that we did, that we kind of put the thing on. And I'm going to give it the knot off. Probably could have done a little tighter there. There we go. Now I'm going to do another one just to kind of hold it off. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm going to take this end and I'm going to stick it back through, because what happens is, I know you can see this is kind of too upraised to accept or to hold a, oh, that one's kind of big. I wanted to show you, let me show you my collection of stems. So these stems are sticks off the tree, and I look for tree stems. I like it to have a little character to them. So these are pretty fun. So you definitely want to go for the fun ones. And you can paint them, or you can use a dowel rod. You can, that you've cut off or whatever. There's all kinds of things you could use. This one's pretty long, and that sometimes is a little bit interesting. So here's a little fun one. It's got all kinds of stuff going on, but I think we'll go for this. Well, here we go. This one will be great. So it's not really gonna, it doesn't have a good seat in there. You could glue it on there, but let's take this, the needle side, and we're gonna go back and forth. And what we're gonna do is kind of secure this hole. So we're gonna go back. So I'm gonna stitch kind of back and forth a couple of stitches. So I'm just gonna grab a couple of my pleats from that side, and then I'm going to come back to this side, and I'm going to just go back and go like that, and then I'm going to tie it back off with this. And what we're trying to do is just make sure that stuffing stays inside the pumpkin. So we'll do this, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to get that to make a little dimple in there to hold the stem. So this one to knot up. Can you believe it? After all of that. So let me see if I can get it straightened out. There we go, that was easy enough. This thread is pretty cooperative. Okay, so now I'm gonna go from this side to that side, because we went the other way. So let's see if we can do, I think that one's kind of sticking out. I'm gonna use that one. That one's asking to be tied off. And we'll use one from over here, it'll be all right. So, you can put as many as necessary, but I've put at least 2 for my little pumpkins, to get them to stay on there. And it really is looping up tonight. It's really acting crazy, but we're just gonna loop around, not worry about it, because it's just for fun, and they'll turn out cute as always. All right, there we go. All right, so that's knotted off, and now we're gonna do the little dimple, because it's not gonna hold that stem in there very well. So I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna grab a little bit of it, like right here. If you can see that, a little bit like right here, and it's probably been better if I use it. And I'm gonna go take this and I'm gonna push it straight through to the bottom. It's coming out the other side. Can y'all see that that's coming out the other side? And then I'm gonna take a tiny, like 1/4 of an inch, and I'm gonna go, so I don't go right back in, but right next to it. I'm gonna go in right next to it. Can you tell that is right next to it? And then I wanna come back up in the top, but I don't wanna come up in the exact same spot. So I'm gonna go over a little bit from that, and I wanna create a little stitch at the bottom. So you have like a little stitch, and then I wanna pull in, but you can see how when I pull in there, and then I have my little tie-off thread at the top, that I should be able to pull in a little dimple at the top. So do you see that made a little dimple? So it made just this place to kind of seat the stick, which is our stem. So we're gonna put that through, and then we'll tie that off, and they'll have my little tiny dimple. And then I just make a couple more tie-offs, and then I'm just gonna give it the cut. And these are my favorite little nippers, and they are perfect for this. So you can get in close, make sure you don't cut the pumpkin itself. So put that aside, and now the fun part is decorating it. So we got our little stem, so all we need is like a couple little drops of hot glue, and we got him in there. And I like the cordless glue gun. I'll put my source for that below, because you definitely, if you don't have one, you want to put that on your must-have list for later. So here he is, he's ready to be decorated. Now, I bought the leaves, like this one has a leaf from the Dollar Tree, and that's super easy. This is a large size, and this is a small in the pattern, so large. So it just depends. These are so cute to put, I got this from the Dollar Tree too. This is one of their, it was clear, and I spray painted it with matte black paint. That's like more fun than enough to spray painting, And then I just sit these on there, and they get like a little cute thing you put on the mantle or your desk at work or whatever. But here's our little fella. So this one has ribbon, and these just have ribbon on it. They don't have a thing on there. And then my daughter made some, and I'll put a link to how she makes hers below. But she made the leaf, and I'll give you that below too on the pattern. But she makes hers with these little, it's a little more involved, it turns out really cute too. So they're cute to do a combination. But and I also make them out of burlap on my sweater pumpkin. And so I have this, and you can just cut these out, and this would be fun for the kids. Woo, they can use their little scissors and cut those out and make them out of fabric, out of paper, craft paper, burlap, I've used ribbons and everything else. So we're looking for a leaf, and I actually found this on some floral, and I thought, why not, right? So I think the little one is where I'm going with this one. So let's just cut it off right at the quick. What we're trying to do is make it as easy as possible. So let's get rid of that little piece of plastic and go right in there. So we got him, and we're gonna put him in there. And so I want him to go along with my black, pink. I want him to go along with my black, white, and orange collection. So he's looking pretty dapper so far. And I think I might even go for a little rustic on him. Why not, right? So I might just bring this in. I think it'd be all right, because it kind of goes with the orange. So I think I'm going to put a little bit of raffia on there. I usually use that with my ones that are my Goodwill shirt or thrift shirt pumpkins, but I'm going to use it on him tonight, and I think I'm going to like him. There we go, and I'm gonna just make a little bow and then trim, because raffia has a mind of its own. It goes everywhere. Sometimes you just have to give it a haircut, corral it, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you want the little tendrils, so you can do a different way. I'm gonna cut this and then cut these, haircut time. But you can also use, a little bit of twine, and there's a couple of different things you can do. You can either wrap it and make it with a around a pencil, and I put it in Mod Podge and use white glue, let it partially dry, and then pull it off there. It makes it really cute. You can take apart a piece of twine. You can get that at the Dollar Tree as well. And you can pull it apart, and these will make like the little tendrils, the little curly vine part, and you can just glue them on there. You can use that. You can curl up some ribbon. You can do, or just omit it all together and not even use those. So let me show you what my sweater pumpkin looks like with those. And I used like a rope on those, but you know, you'd have to of course trim it down, but you can see them be cute. All right, so here's where I used the sweater pumpkin, and this is, I have another video on this, and these leaves, I used that pattern and I cut them out of course, burlap. And I made the little bow on it, I made the thing. So this is totally no sew. There's no thread or a needle in this whatsoever. So, but here's the little tendril that I was talking about that I used with the Mod Podge. And so I just used twine, and I put it in the Mod Podge and put it around a pencil. When it was partially dry, I took it off. And then and here's the little, so I put everything you could put on a pumpkin on this one. So this one's super cute and really easy to make. And this, I used a foam pumpkin, but you can use something other than a foam pumpkin. Any plastic pumpkin or whatever, you can do it. But anyway, this is a sweater pumpkin, and they use the sleeve of a sweater. So that is how that one is done. And then we have this kind, and I can put a link to that, and you can watch that video as well. And then there's the other kind that is the kind that is the one with the things on there. But the simplest and one that most people enjoy the most is this little pumpkin right here. And you could use any color fabric. You can match your decor. We make them out of teal for the teal pumpkin project, and that turns out great. You can give them to people so they can make sure that they have a non-food treat for all of their trick-or-treaters. And I tell you what, you bring these to work and put one on everybody's desk, and you will be super popular. All right, happy Halloween.